Welcome to welcome to Amateur Rig Veda, where I try to learn more about the Rig Veda using an English translation. Today I have Hymn 4 by Ralph T. Griffith. Let's begin. As a good cow to him who milks, we call the doer of fair deeds to our assistance day by day. Okay, wonderful. Firstly, I like Ralph T. Griffith's translations because his choice of words are very nice for me. Now, I'm somewhere close to hymn 80, and I feel the hymns generally consist of multiple lines, can vary from 5 to 10, somewhere around 12 or whatever it is, and I feel each line consists of smaller parts. Now, each part can convey different pieces of information, and a lot of times I feel they convey an emotion, as in this case. Now, the opening piece of the first line, as a good cow to him that milks or who milks, I feel consists of multiple parts that you have to rearrange or move around a bit to understand what the feeling is the invoker is trying to convey here. So for me, as a good cow to him milks consists of as a good cow to is a preposition. I'm not going to go into English grammar because I'm not very good with English grammar. And him who milks. And when I recombine that, I feel that portion, that small piece is trying to say, as a good cow behaves with the person who milks the good cow. So I feel the invoker in the opening part of the opening line is already trying to convey a very sophisticated, I feel that's a very sophisticated feeling right there. I know these Vedas were written a long time ago, and perhaps when they were written, cows and horses were in abundance, but that's a very sophisticated emotion that the invoker is trying to convey. As a good cow behaves with the person who milks the good cow. So I feel what the invoker is trying to say, well, the feeling a person has when they milk a good cow. And I think the reason why they're saying that is perhaps cows, well, they don't give milk very easily, and so a person or a cow that gives milk easily, they consider a good cow. So the feeling a person has when they milk a good cow, that's the opening part of the first line. Okay, so perhaps that's a feeling of contentment or satisfaction. So with that feeling, the invoker is saying, we call the doer of fair deeds. Now, what is fair? Fair, when you look at the meaning, is clearly, openly, frankly, civilly, honestly. So I feel something balanced, and deed is an action or an act. So the invoker is saying, with the feeling of satisfaction or contentment, we call the doer of fair deeds. And I feel fair deeds in this case is referring to Varuna or Mitra. Now, in the previous hymns, we've had the identity of the gods or the identity of the entity that the invokers are referring to being revealed very quickly. Here it's not. So let's see what this is referring to here. So we have to go along, and this happens a lot. I'm somewhere close to hymn 80, and often it is the case that the hymns don't immediately reveal which god they're talking about, which god is being referred to, and sometimes you have to deduce it. So I'm going to do my best to deduce it here because it's not always clear which god is being referred to. So we call the doer of fair deeds. My guess is Varuna or Mitra. May change as we go along, as we read more of the hymn. To our assistance day by day. Assistance is aid or help or the act of assisting. So the first line, very beautiful line, very sophisticated emotion in the opening, as a good cow to him who milks. So with a feeling of contentment, we call the doer of fair deeds. We are not sure which god that is yet. To our assistance day by day. So with a feeling of contentment, we call the god of fair deeds to our assistance day by day. So let's see how that goes. Let's go to the next line. Come, thou to our libations, drink of Soma, Soma drinketh thou, the rich one's rapture giveth kind. Come thou to our libations, thou is just you, so come you to our libations. We've come across the word libations before, it's a liquid offering. Drink of Soma. So we know what the liquid offering here is. It's a drink made out of Soma. Soma drinketh thou. Okay, that I feel is an information that helps us identify whom the invokers are talking about. In the first line, we had the doer of fair deeds. So my guess was Varuna and Mitra, but now we have Soma drinker. So with the Soma drinker, we know it's possibly Vayu, Indra, the Ashwins or Vishwadevas, because they have been referred to alongside Soma. Varuna and Mitra, as far as I remember, the first three hymns, they have not been referred to alongside Soma. So possibly it's not Varuna and Mitra. So it's possibly one of these four, which is Vayu and Indra, which are individual gods. Ashwins, there are multiple. We know there are two of them. Those of us who grew up in India, and Vishwadeva as well. I don't know how many they are, but there are probably more than one. So come to our libations, the drink of Soma that they have prepared. Soma drinketh thou. So they're possibly calling one of these four. The rich one's rapture giveth kind. Now the rich one, I feel, is not a very, it's not a very specific description, or it's not a very narrow description, because well, in the first three hymns, every god or every entity that was introduced was basically referred to as rich in some form. So for me, the rich one doesn't give more information than and it's not unlike Soma. Soma, we know it's referred to like very few gods, at least like only four. Whereas rich ones, okay, everybody's rich so far, so I'm going to ignore that. The rich one's rapture giveth kind. Rapture, when you look at meanings, it has quite a few dark meanings. So I'm not going to go with the dark meanings. I'm going to go with the nicer one, which is extreme pleasure, happiness, or excitement. So the rich one's happiness or excitement giveth kind. Kind we've come across before. Kind is a plural of cows. So the rich one's excitement or happiness gives you cows. So the Vedas were written a long time ago, and there's been references to kind or cows before and horses before. So makes sense. In that time, cows and horses were probably very valuable. So the second line is saying, come to our libations, drink of Soma, a drink that we made, and that's a liquid offering for you. And the next part says, the rich one's rapture giveth kind. So rich one's fine. The rich one, so some god that they're talking about, some god's excitement or happiness giveth kind. So I feel, I could be wrong, and I feel what the second line is trying to say is, there's a drink of Soma. Perhaps Soma induces happiness, or maybe it does not, whatever it be the case. But the second part of the second line is trying to say that when a god is in excitement, or they are very happy, or they have a very positive feeling, they will give cows. So it's like giving it as a gift to possibly the followers or worshippers of the god. I think that's what the second line is trying to say. Now, I've read this hymn before, and it's not a very easy hymn for me to understand. I'll try my best to convey as much information as I can. So with the first two lines, for me at least, it's not very clear what's going on, in the sense, the first line said, okay, we're calling the doer of fair deeds to our assistance, to our help. So the first line says, okay, we're calling the person for help. The second line says, okay, the rich one's rapture giveth kind. We're going to give that god Soma, and the rich one's rapture giveth kind. So far, with the first two lines, it would appear the invokers want cows, and they're calling some god, the doer of fair deeds, someone who drinks Soma, for assistance, and possibly they're asking for cows. So let's see how it proceeds. Let's go to the next line. So may we be acquainted with thine innermost benevolence. Neglect us not, come hitherward. Beautiful, beautiful. So the first part of that is saying, so may we be acquainted with thine innermost benevolence. Acquainted is personally known or familiar. I think be very, you know it very well. With thine is just yours. Innermost is very far inside, so something close to the heart. And benevolence is doing something good, or something nice, charitable, or kindness. So I feel the first part of the third line is saying the invokers are calling someone, some god, with a drink of Soma. They've offered Soma, and they're asking for assistance in the first line. They've offered Soma in the second line and speak about cows in the second line. And third line, when we come to third line, it's saying, so may we be acquainted with thine innermost benevolence, your charitable behavior, or your ability to do good that is close to your heart. So not some superficial good, something that comes from deep from your heart. So that's again a very sophisticated, I feel, a very sophisticated emotion there that the invokers are conveying. So at least something that's consistent so far in the first three lines is the invokers want something. They're asking for something. They're saying, okay, give. It's all referring to donation from the gods, or like something the gods have to give to the invokers or whoever's calling the gods. So let's see how it keeps going. The last part of the third line says, "Neglect us not, come hitherward." I really like that. I really like that because it's beautifully written. Neglect us not. That's a wonderful choice. That's wonderful word selection in my opinion, because neglect says fail to care, to attend to something. So to neglect, not to ignore or reject. So they're telling the gods, they're not using the words ignore or okay, maybe not ignore. They're not using the words reject. So the god is not outright saying no. They're being very sweet to the god and saying neglect us not. So even if the god rejects them, the invokers are being very sweet in not seeing it as a rejection, but they're saying, oh, don't neglect us, or don't forget to take care of us. Oh, you didn't give it to us last time, no problem, maybe you forgot. So I think that's very sweet. That's a and I'm sure that's reasonably close to the original Sanskrit translation. I mean the original Sanskrit text, but that's a very sweet emotion that's being conveyed there by the invokers. Neglect us not, come hitherward, come here, don't neglect us, don't forget about us. So that's very sweet. Okay, let's go to the next line. Go to the wise unconquered one, ask thou of Indra, skilled in song, him who is better than thy friends. So for me, I've read this hymn before. This is where it gets a little well, maybe not confusing is not the best word. It gets a little difficult for me to understand. It's a little difficult for me to understand this line. So go to the wise unconquered one. So I feel, yeah, okay, this line needs a little bit of rearrangement. I'll get to that. Okay, I'll get to it right now. So I mean, those of you who don't know, I usually prepare a presentation and then I read it out. So I prepared the presentation, I've come back and I'm making this recording while reading the presentation. So okay, I've already put that here. So go to the wise unconquered one, ask thou of Indra, skilled in song, who is better than thy friends. So a lot of times in these hymns, you have to rearrange these words a little bit to figure out what is the emotion that is being conveyed. Now I feel what happened, I could be horribly wrong here. I feel what happened is when Ralph T. Griffith was translating it, he made a choice to translate it as literally as possible, which is wonderful. I love it. For somebody like me who likes to reconstruct it on my own without, without too much help from the translator, I like Ralph T. Griffith's translation because he's done as literal a translation as possible. I feel, because if I was doing it, I would have probably parsed this, or I would have rearranged this and actually conveyed the right emotion. And the fact that Ralph T. Griffith didn't do that, I really like that about Ralph T. Griffith. I'd like to thank him for that. So I feel you have to rearrange this a little bit because each line consists of smaller pieces. And I think the way the Sanskrit text is written, I haven't read the original Sanskrit one, so this is my guess. The way it's written is each small piece conveys an emotion. And if you combine these emotion, you get the bigger emotion. Like in the first case we had, as a good cow is to the one who milks. So you have to like rearrange it a little bit to understand, okay, they're not talking about the good cow, they're talking about the person who milks the cow, and they're talking about actually the way the person who's milking the cow feels, milking the good cow feels. So it's not only just a cow, it's a good cow. So again, so if you rearrange this a bit, go to the wise unconquered one, ask thou of Indra, skilled in song, who is better than thy friends. I feel when you rearrange this, it comes out to go to Indra, who is the wise unconquered one, or Indra, who's known as the wise unconquered one. Ask him with skill in song. I feel that skill in song is important, and why? Because skill is requiring special abilities or training. I feel the people who wrote these hymns or sang these hymns, they felt these hymns are not ordinary songs. You need to convey some sort of emotion in a skillful manner. So go to Indra, the wise unconquered one, and with skill in song, ask Indra who is better than your friends. I do believe you need some skill in song to go ask a god who is better than your friends. So I haven't come across a direct line like this before in the first three hymns. The first three hymns were beautiful. They were very, they were full of praise for the gods. And now we have, I feel, which is a very direct line, And I don't know why. We'll read the hymn and probably we'll get more as to why it's happening. I feel it's a very direct line. It's like telling, okay, go to Indra, the wise unconquered one, with skill in song, which is good, with skill in song. Ask Indra who is better than your friends. I don't know much about Indra yet. Probably the hymns will tell us more. But well, if I was a god and somebody came and asked me who's better than your friends, I would be like, what? That sounds like an attack on me. Why are you asking me such a question? So perhaps that's why they say with skill in song. Be sweet, be nice to Indra. Don't be very rough when you ask Indra who is better than your friends. I feel, and maybe I could be wrong. Let's see. So maybe the hymns will, the fourth hymn will tell us more as to why the invokers are saying ask that question in the first place. So let's go. Let's go to the next line. Whether the men who mock us say, depart unto another place, ye who serve Indra and none else. Now, whether is a word that's used to indicate multiple possibilities. So when you have whether, it's whether this or that. So I'm going to extend the fifth line to the sixth line. So I'm going to read 5 and 6 together because it's introducing options. So let's check out both the options. Whether the men who mock us say, depart unto another place, ye who serve Indra and none else. So that's the first option. Or whether, God of wondrous deeds, all our true people call us blessed, still may we dwell in Indra's care. Okay, some work to do here. I feel first we have to extract the two possibilities that whether is referring to. So the first I think is whether the men who mock us. So what is mock? Mock is to imitate, and I feel in this case is probably not imitate in a flattering way. Probably not imitate in a nice way. Probably imitate in a mocking way. Like you're trying to in an insulting way. Like you're trying to bring out when you try to imitate others. When you try to bring out the not so nice qualities in them. So I feel the invokers are a group of people. The invokers are people who are reading this hymn or who are like calling this hymn. I feel they're a group of people who worship Indra, and they're talking about another group of men who mock them, who imitate them in a not so nice or happy manner. And those men are saying, depart unto another land, leave here because you worship Indra and no one else. So that's the first option, whether those men who tell these invokers depart unto another land because you serve Indra and no one else. So what's the second option? Or whether God of wondrous deeds. I think, okay, that throws me off a bit. God of wondrous deeds. Okay, I forgot to tell you the meaning of depart. Depart is to leave. So let's skip that and go to wondrous. God of wondrous deeds, wonderful, amazing, awe-inspiring, marvelous. So possibly that's referring to Indra. So or whether Indra, so maybe they're referring directly to Indra. All our true people call us blessed. So true is I'll go with the fourth meaning there, which is loyal and faithful. So all our loyal people call us blessed. Blessed is just a way of saying blessed. So there are two options. One is whether people who mock us say leave, and the other option is whether all our loyal people say, oh, we are so blessed. We are so blessed by to live here, or we are just generally blessed, whatever it is. Still may we dwell in Indra's care. Okay, so let's break that down. There are two things. One is there are men who are not the invokers, who are mocking the invokers and saying, depart unto another land, because depart is to leave. I didn't go into the meaning there, should I? Let me just quickly check that. Yeah, depart is to leave. So they're telling these people to leave. And ye who serve Indra and Ovana, so there's a group of men who are mocking these invokers, saying, leave to another land because you serve Indra and Ovanas. And that's the first one. And the other one is, or whether God of wondrous deeds, all our loyal people call us blessed. Still may we dwell in Indra's care. Okay, fine. So that's the last piece. Okay, fine. So I think what that line's trying to say is whether men tell us to depart to another place because we worship. I mean, when I say I already know what that line's trying to say. I was trying to remember what that line was trying to say. It's not like I deduced it on the fly. I mean, in real time here, I've already deduced it before. So I was trying to remember what that line's trying to say. So there are two options: whether men who don't like us, who are mocking us, tell us to depart to another place because we worship Indra and no one else, or whether all the people who are loyal to us or people of our group say that we are blessed, still may we dwell in Indra's care. So I feel this is actually a very nice introduction to different possibilities. So I mean, these Vedas were written many, many years ago, many centuries ago, and even then I mean that's pretty sophisticated in my opinion, because they're displaying, and I'm not saying this is unique to India. I'm sure other civilizations or other cultures across the world also display this in some form. But I like this line because it's showing that people understand different possibilities and they're asking for the same result or the same future irrespective of the possibilities, right? That's so there are two possibilities here: whether men tell us to depart to another place, which is whether the people who don't like us tell us to leave, or whether all of us think we're blessed, still may we dwell in Indra's care. They're asking for the same. The invokers are asking for the same future. That's pretty interesting. They're saying no matter this path or that path, we want to be here in the future, which is still may we dwell in Indra's care. That's the outcome that the invokers are asking for, and that's pretty interesting. What is still may we dwell in Indra's care? What is this? I'm just going to let that auto go by so the recording is better. So still may we dwell in Indra's care. What is this future that the invokers are asking for, irrespective of what path the present takes, which is either men tell them to depart or they don't tell them to depart and everybody among them thinks they're blessed. They want the same future, and the future is still maybe dwell in Indra's care, which is still is up to a certain time. That's the second meaning over there. I'll take that. Dwell is to live or reside, and care is to be under maintenance or upkeep. So I think that line's trying to say, irrespective of the path the present takes, we want to continue living in Indra's care or in Indra's maintenance or under Indra's management or maintenance. So I like that line because it introduces possibilities, and the invokers are consciously asking, we want to be here, we want to be in this future, no matter which path the present take. The present can take two paths. The men who mock them can say depart, and they probably will have to depart. Or maybe the other path is they don't have to depart and they say they're very blessed. They want to continue living in Indra's care. So no matter what, we want to be in Indra's care. It appears the invokers are very sure about that. So it's this hymn was it's still very difficult for me to understand, but as I'm speaking it out to you people, I'm whoever's watching this, I'm understanding this a little bit more. It appears the first three lines, I felt the invokers are asking for something. The fourth line was a little, it was different, but it introduced Indra, so at least we got an identity as to whom the god is. So it introduced Indra, but it wasn't straightforward. Go to the wise unconquered one, ask Indra who's better than your friends. Then fifth and sixth, the invokers are saying we want to continue living in Indra's care or under Indra's maintenance. Okay, so let's go to the next line. Let's see what happens here. Unto the swift one bring the swift, man cheering, grace of sacrifice, that to the friend gives wings and joy. Now I've read a lot of these hymns. I'm somewhere around 80. I don't remember the exact number, maybe 80, 85 or 90, whatever it is. So it's easy for me to now see that line is conveying an emotion. Unto the swift bring the swift, right? So unto is to indicate motion towards. So that's saying the swift one bring the swift. So swift we've come across before. Swift is fast or quick, probably talking about horses. We've been introduced to bay horses before. That's in reference with Indra. Bay was a color, that brown looking, I think that maybe it's not brown, maybe it's called bay. That's why they call it bay. Very shiny brown. Shiny brown is what I would call bay. Swift is fast, rapid. So unto the swift one bring the swift. And bring, I will go with the second meaning, which is to supply or contribute or to increase. So I feel that first portion is trying to say unto the swift one bring what's it trying to say? To a group of horses bring more horses. So I feel the feeling that it's trying to convey there is the feeling that one has when a group of horses that they have increases in number. Man cheering. Cheering is to be cheerful, happy, or be in a positive mood. Grace of sacrifice. I felt that wasn't very straightforward. Sacrifice we've come across before, which is an offering to the gods. Unlike libations, we know is a liquid offering. Sacrifice, I mean, one of the possibilities was to burn something, but I feel now we can just assume it's food or something that's given to the gods. Grace of sacrifice. Grace is charming, pleasing qualities. So pleasing qualities of giving a sacrifice. I would not be very happy giving up a sacrifice. I would not be very happy parting with something for a sacrifice. So I feel when they say grace of sacrifice, what they're referring to is the feeling one gets after giving something up to sacrifice, with the belief or with the understanding that okay, the sacrifice is complete and now the god or whoever they're calling on will fulfill their wish. I feel that's referring to that. So unto the swift one bring the swift, which is the feeling that one has when the group of horses increases. Man cheering, that's reasonably straightforward, something that cheers men up. Something cheering is making feeling happy or what is. And grace is sacrifice, the feeling that one has once the sacrifice is complete. That to the friend gives wings and joy. So I think I've put that down in the slides in front of you. There are four feelings that this line is talking about. Unto the swift one bring the swift. Man sharing grace of sacrifice. That to the friend gives wings and joy. And this is not uncommon. This is not unique. I've come across pieces like this in further down the hymns as well, in most of the hymns. But I think there's something underlying here as I speak about it right now. There's something going on here. I think this is a series of actions that they're performing. They're performing some sort of ritual, and as they're performing the ritual, either they're telling what the ritual is, like sometimes they say we're offering libations, we're giving you soma. So they're being very specific. We prepared soma, we're giving you soma, come drink soma. They're being very specific. Or sometimes they're saying, okay, we're giving you sacrifice, here take food. They're being very specific with that. At other times they're describing these feelings, and I think what this feeling probably means is they're completing some sort of action and they have a feeling that comes with the action and they're conveying that. The feeling when the swift one are brought to the swift one. So I guessed that feeling is probably when somebody who has horses, the number of horses that they have increases. And man cheering is something that cheers man, feeling of the grace of sacrifice, the feeling that one has that after sacrifice complete, that feeling gives wings and joy to the friend. And they've spoken about friend before. Ask Indra who is better than your friends. So this line is a lot of feeling, not very clear. I'll be honest. I'm not very clear as to what this line is trying to say. So I'm going to go to the next line. Thou Shatakratu drankest this and was Vritra's slayer. Thou holpest the warrior in the fray. So one of the reasons why I find this hymn difficult to understand is because the first three lines don't really say who the person they're referring to. Then the next three lines speak about Indra, which is fine. Which is pretty nice of them. Seventh line describes a set of feelings, again very difficult for me to like connect it to others. And now we have Shatakratu. So Shatakratu, if I had to guess, well, okay, let me try to deduce it. I mean, you can check it up on the web. Shatakratu is another name for Indra. But if you didn't have that information, if you didn't have the information that Shatakratu was Indra, the question would be, can we deduce? Is there enough information here for us to deduce, or at least reasonably say with some reasonable confidence that Shatakratu is probably being referred to? They're referring to Indra when they say Shatakratu. Shatakratu is another name of Indra, like Angiras is another name for Agni. So let's see. Thou Shatakratu drankest this. Drankest is just drink, and drankest is I think is referring to Soma. They talk about Soma before they come. In line number 2, they talk about Soma. So Shatakratu drank Soma, drank his, and was Vritras's slayer. Vritras is slayer. Okay, first let me. I'm thinking how to introduce this. I already know who Vritras is because I checked it out on the web, but I'm trying to figure out, okay, is there a way to introduce this person here? Thou wast Vritras' slayer. Was is okay, past of be, so just was. Slayer is murderer or killer. Okay, fine. So here we go. So Shatakratu is someone who murdered or killed Vritras. So now, till now, we've had heroes. We've had the invokers praise all the gods in a very sweet manner, and now for the first time we have Shatakratu who's killing Vritras. Shatakratu drankest this Soma and went and slayed Vritras. So let's see how they speak about Shatakratu. They speak about Shatakratu in a positive manner or negative manner. If they speak about Shatakratu in a positive manner, then possibly Vritras is their villain or someone they don't like. Thou holpest the warrior in the fray. So I could not find holp on Wiktionary. I had to go to. I didn't go to Literature Stack Exchange. I just typed on Google. Google found it for me. So holp is a way of saying help. So thou helpest the warrior in the fray. Warrior is a person who actively engages in combat. So that means Shatakratu is either Indra or Vayu, because so far we have only 2 military gods, which is either Indra or Vayu. And from lines 3 to 6, we can guess, that would be a guess, that Shatakratu is probably Indra, because there's no other god that's been spoken about. So I think what I'm trying to get at here is, when I read the hymns and the identity is not given, I often wonder, okay, is it correct to assume that that's the god they're talking about? So, for example, in the first 3 lines, we didn't get any identity of the gods, and I think because of the Soma drinker, we narrowed it down to 4 gods: Vayu, Indra, Ashwins, or Vishwadevas. And then from 4 to 6, we got the identity Indra. I think the question I'm trying to ask is, if you're given the identity of a god later on, first, if you're not given the identity of a god in the first few lines, but then the hymn refers to a god, do you automatically assume that it is the same god that was being referred to in the first few lines? So since Indra was introduced in lines 4 to 6, is it correct to assume that lines 1 to 3 were also talking about Indra? Because we've had hymns 1 to 3. I'm just going to let the auto pass. We've had hymns before. I think it was hymn 2 or hymn 3, where multiple gods are spoken about in the same hymn. So I think I have to make an assumption here, and I'll make the assumption that it's just Indra that this hymn is speaking about. It's an assumption. Now, if somebody showed this to me, perhaps the original Sanskrit version has more clear-cut information on why it is Indra that is being spoken about from start to finish. But when I read the English translation, it's not very clear. There's Indra from 4 to 6, which is fine, but 1 to 3, Indra isn't there, and 7 again is for me a set of feelings, and now we have Shatakratu in line 8. So for me, it's very difficult to map all the identities. So I'm going to assume it is Indra that is being spoken about from lines 1 to 6. It is an assumption. I'm going to make it to simplify the further discussion. But otherwise, it wouldn't be very clear to me. It's not straightforward. At least it's not very obvious that it's Indra that's being spoken about. So let me do the 8th line again. Thou Shatakratu drankest Soma and was Vritras's slayer. Thou holpest the warrior in the fray. The fray is basically a loud commotion, brawl, or fight, and that's good. So Shatakratu is either Vayu or Indra, because they're the only military gods we know. Maybe even Varuna or Mitra. But Varuna or Mitra don't drink Soma, or at least they weren't referred to alongside Soma. Okay, let's go to the next line. We strengthen Shatakratu, thee the powerful in fight, that Indra we may win us well. Very, very difficult again to deduce what's going on, but break it down into words, so make it easier for us to figure out what's going on. We strengthen is to make strong. Shatakratu, thee is just you. Ye. Ye is not ye. Ye is a plural form of thou. This is yea. Yea is just yes. So the first part of the ninth line says, we strengthen Shatakratu, or we make Shatakratu strong. I mean you, Shatakratu, yes, you, the powerful in fight. So Shatakratu is someone who is powerful in fight. And the invokers are saying, we strengthen you, Shatakratu, yes, you, the powerful in fight. That Indra, we may win us wealth. Okay, I think that portion is trying to say, the second part of the ninth line is trying to say, we strengthen you. Okay, so, okay, actually, why not the second part? The whole ninth line is trying to say, we strengthen you, Shatakratu, yes, you, the powerful in fight, and we're doing this Indra, because Shatakratu and Indra are the same, we're doing this Indra so that we may win us wealth. I think that's what the ninth line is trying to say overall. It's not very straightforward, but I think that's where it's going with that. Okay, let's go to the last line. To him, the mighty stream of wealth, prompt friend of him who pours the juice. Ye to this Indra sing your song. That's pretty nice. To him, the mighty stream of wealth. Whom? Okay, first let's figure out what's mighty stream. Mighty is very powerful. Stream we've come across before. It was in reference to Vayu. Vayu, I think, gives out a stream that penetrates searching for Soma or whatever it was. That was very nice description. So, but here it's mighty stream of wealth, a very strong stream of wealth. And wealth is uncountable riches, great valuable assets, possession, mighty stream of wealth, a strong stream of wealth. It's like a stream of money coming in, like a river of money, like money flows. So they're saying to him the mighty, no, a very strong stream. So strong probably in this case means I feel, since this was written a long time ago and they had to cross rivers, this is my guess, they had to cross rivers, they would feel some rivers are very strong to swim across because the current is very strong. And some rivers were small streams, so you probably could wade across or just walk across. So they're saying mighty stream. So they want a very strong river, river with a strong stream. So probably a very big river or a very big inflow of wealth. To him, whoever this. So who is this? Prompt friend of him who pours the juice. So to him the mighty stream of wealth. Okay, to someone go this mighty stream of wealth. Prompt friend of him who pours the juice. Prompt is quick without delay. So a friend who is a very true friend or very quick friend doesn't comes to be a friend without much delay. To him who pours the juice. I think the juice is Soma. So that's pretty straightforward. Ye is yes. To this Indra sing your song. Okay. So that's what I've written down there in the presentation. Let me think if that makes sense. A person who pours Soma will become a prompt friend of Indra, receive a mighty stream of wealth. To him, the mighty stream of wealth. So that's, I prepare, like I said, I prepare this presentation with a certain set of thoughts in mind, and then I do a recording on my own presentation. So let me see if my thoughts also evolve as I go along. So let me see if what I've written before makes sense to me. To him the mighty stream of wealth, the prompt friend of him who pours the juice. To him the mighty stream of wealth. So to someone go the mighty stream of wealth. So that part is reasonably clear. The invokers are asking the mighty stream of wealth go to someone. Prompt friend of him who pours the juice. Prompt, see this is the part, okay, that's throwing me off because prompt friend of him, a quick without delay friend of him who pours the juice. Pours the juice is Soma. Soma has to be on the invoker's side. So far it's not, at least I didn't feel the gods are offering Soma to the invokers. It's the invokers who are offering Soma to the gods. Prompt friend of him who pours the juice. So I would assume it's the gods who are the friends of the person who pours the Soma drink. So what I'm trying to figure out here is to whom should the mighty stream of wealth go? Should it go to the gods that are the god that Indra that's being called, or to the person who's pouring the juice? Because I've said the person who pours Soma will become prompt friend of Indra and receive mighty stream of wealth. I could be wrong there. Because it's not, I can assume that to him the mighty stream of wealth and prompt friend of him who pours the juice, it certainly can be interpreted as the person who pours Soma will receive prompt friendship and a stream of wealth from Indra, but that can also be perceived as let the stream of wealth go to Indra because it appears they are preparing for something with Rasa Slayer and asking for help, and let Indra be a prompt friend of person who pours the juice. Ye to this Indra sing your song. So maybe there are multiple Indras, at least with the last part. I don't know. Let's see as we go along other hymns. Maybe we'll get more. So yeah, that's all I have for you on hymn 4. I'd say this hymn wasn't a very straightforward hymn for me. It was a reasonably difficult hymn to deconstruct as a person who's discovering the Vedas. So if I had to guess, I guess the hymn 4 is talking about something. They're asking for something from Indra. That part is reasonably straightforward to. Okay, it's not reasonably straightforward. Okay, okay. Can say that they're asking something from Indra, but the manner in which they're asking, their feelings or their emotions are not always precise. So maybe this is just the way the hymns are written, I feel. Um, are they written that way? Because I've read most of the hymns. Maybe I'll discover as I go along. I feel that's how you invoke the gods. There's a pantheon of, there's a group of gods that are described, in Hindu mythology and Hinduism. Perhaps this is how you invoke the gods. The reason why I'm saying that is the hymns are not they're not always asking for something. They use sweet words. They seem to go away, like, for example, they started off by saying, come drink soma, don't neglect us. So initially you see, okay, they're going to ask something. Then the hymn threw me off by saying, okay, go ask this Indra who's better than your friends, which, okay, I didn't understand much. And then lines 5 and 6 said, okay, no matter what happens, if people tell us to leave, or if all of us think we are really blessed, let us continue to dwell in Indra's care. And then they brought out Shatakratu, and was Vritrasa's slayer. Then Shatakratu is a powerful, the line, I think it was line 9 that said, we're strengthening you, Shatakratu, we are strengthening you. You, the powerful in fight, probably with Soma. So a lot of emotions are being conveyed in hymn number 4. So it wasn't a very straightforward hymn for me to understand, but beautiful. It's always really nice to read Ralph T. Griffith's translation. I like it very much. The selection of words are very nice for me. That's all I have for you all. Wish you all a good week ahead.